Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, getting people off the streets. An update to the city's safe parking program. Matt Hoffman is live with details. Matt.
Yeah, we're here in Mission Valley, and coming up, we'll show you how the city plans to turn this old overflow parking lot right across from SDCCU Stadium into a place where people can park and sleep overnight. That story just ahead.
Plus, the FBI is cracking down on online hate speech. Agents serve a warrant to an alt-right website linked to the Poway Synagogue shooting. And rising sea levels are quickly becoming a concern for our coastline. How it will affect San Diego shores. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. It's Monday, June 17th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. A parking lot where people can sleep in RVs and cars overnight is opening today in Mission Valley. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman is there now with an update on the city's safe parking program. Matt.
Yeah, Ebony, we're here right now in Mission Valley, right across the street from SDCCU Stadium. That's where this lot's going to be. It's actually an old overflow parking lot. And as you can see, there's no one here yet. They're still waiting for people to come. People have to be in the slot by 6 o'clock. There's some bathrooms down there. That'll be some of the services offered here. This is the first city-sponsored parking lot to accommodate RVs. The lot will be able to hold up to 80 RVs or 200 cars. And the city has contracted Jewish Family Service to operate the lot daily. The nonprofit will have case managers here with the goal of getting people into housing. And the lot will be open for vehicles from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. daily. That means in by 6, out by 7. We talked to one man living in his RV, and he says those time restrictions are tough.
It makes it hard to get to work. If you gotta, be up that much earlier to get everything packed up, back out on the street, parked somewhere on the street, just during the day though, not at night. Then you got to be back in by 6 o'clock. Well, if you got a lot of, you don't, like me, I don't get off sometimes till 5:30. How do I get in before 6? I probably wouldn't be able to go to that lot because of that reason, because there'd be a lot of days I wouldn't be able to get in by 6.
A lot of people living in RVs stay at the beaches, and another gentleman I talked to said it would cost a significant amount of money in gas just to get out here, especially when RVs are only getting 10 or so miles per gallon. He says he would end up just coming back to the beaches if he stayed here because that's where the bathrooms and showers are during the day. Plus, he says he doesn't want to stay in an area like Mission Valley where there are neighborhoods close by. Now, people in the RVs we talked to say these parking lots are a good idea. They just wish the timing was more flexible and they had similar lots down near the beaches. And coming back out here live, there's no one here at this parking lot yet. Remember, people have to be in here by 6 p.m. It's also worth noting that many of the people that stay here, Jewish Family Service says their clients are people who are first-time homeless, so not people who are chronically homeless. Live here in Mission Valley, Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Thanks, Matt. The suspect in the deadly synagogue shooting in Poway allegedly posted a manifesto on an online message board for neo-Nazis. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says federal prosecutors have executed a search warrant on the site.
The warrant was signed by a judge in April, but was sealed until last week. It seeks all the digital footprints of everyone who responded to or commented on the suspect's manifesto. It calls them potential witnesses, co-conspirators, or individuals inspired by the posting. 8chan calls itself the darkest reaches of the internet. Its message boards are full of anti-Semitic propaganda that sometimes calls for violence, all under the banner of free speech. Eric Best is a former U.S. attorney. He says prosecutors have to decide whether any of the responses glorifying the Poway attack are protected by the First Amendment, or if the poster committed a crime.
Does this person have any type of indication in their background that they really would be likely to commit a crime or likely to incite others to commit acts of violence? Secondly, you'd look at the credibility of the threat. Does the threat really sound like something that's serious, or is it just simply talk?
The attack on the Chabad of Poway Synagogue in April killed one woman and injured 3, including a young girl. The suspect has been charged with more than 100 counts of federal hate crimes and civil rights violations. He could face the death penalty. A judge could schedule a trial date for the federal charges as soon as next week. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
What does a rising sea level mean for Southern California? From our climate change desk, KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson finds a warming climate is already affecting San Diego's coast.
La Jolla Shores is a great beach here in San Diego County, and it's been a great place to be in the summertime because the water off the shore here has been warmer than usual. And we know that because of research that's being done right there at the end of Scripps Pier.
So right now we collect 2 samples.
Once a day for more than 100 years, someone, on this day Sean Bruce, has come here, opened a door, and dropped a sample tube into the water below.
The more samples, the better.
Temperatures taken here last summer were the highest ever recorded, and oceanographer Melissa Carter says that isn't just a seasonal aberration.
What we found is since 2004, we've actually had quite a bit of warming.
A warming ocean is changing the underwater environment. Some species that used to thrive here are having a tougher time.
We need to understand the changes all around it.
And Scripps Institution of Oceanography researcher Helen Fricker says it's also one of 3 main causes of sea level rise.
The temperature of the ocean, the average temperature of the ocean is increasing. And because of that, the entire ocean volume is expanding. And there's only one way for that to go because the basins are all fixed, and so it just rises up.
Water from melting glaciers in the world's highest mountain ranges is another source pushing up sea levels. And sea levels are going up because 2 great reservoirs of ice, Greenland and Antarctica, are melting. Fricker has studied the Antarctica ice for 25 years, and she's surprised at what's happening there now.
The changes that we're seeing in the Antarctic and Greenland ice sheets have really kicked in the last decade or 2. We are now seeing signals that appear to be starting to accelerate. We're getting an increase in the amount of mass coming off the ice sheets.
And the potential impact is massive. The frozen continent holds enough ice to push up worldwide sea levels by about 180 feet. Think of the kissing statue sculpture near the USS Midway. 7 of them, stacked on top of each other, are just under 180 feet. Add the ice on Greenland, and sea levels could rise another 20 feet.
You're not just melting ice, you're actually increasing the speed at which ice is delivered.
Scripps researcher Fiamma Strano studies Greenland, which is much warmer than the southern continent.
Greenland is changing faster. Right now, Antarctica accounts for about 10% of global sea level rise. Greenland is about twice that, 20%. But in terms of potential long-term contribution, Antarctica holds about 10 times as much ice or water than Greenland.
Strano says the pace of change is a surprise for researchers. Glacial change no longer means very long timescales, and that has scientists in a race to catch up. She says tracking and understanding those changes can be dangerous work.
And so what we really need is measurements as close as we can get to where the ice meets the ocean. But that's probably one of the most challenging places where to get observations on the planet.
You want me to take the cap off, Jeff? Okay.
In Antarctica, these glaciers are sitting thousands of feet below sea level with ice shelves that extend hundreds of miles. And in Greenland, things are a bit smaller, but as you'll see, the edge of these glaciers that flow into the ocean is a really dramatic place. Big icebergs breaking off.
Strano and Fricker and scientists around the world are working to understand the changing conditions and the pace of change. They want to know how warmer air and warmer ocean temperatures are contributing to the situation.
That's the big sort of holy grail question about both of these ice sheets. It's how much ice are we going to lose and how fast or how quickly are we going to lose that ice? Because when you start to think about 0.5 meter, 1 meter of sea level rise over the next several decades, it really matters how many decades we're talking about and how many sort of tens of centimeters we're talking about. Because if you think about cities and planning and people living near the ocean, it's going to affect a lot of communities, and we need to know, for planning purposes, how quickly we need to start making these changes.
Fricker says even a change of a few feet can have significant economic impacts. Coastal properties can be swamped, and low-lying airports in San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco all face threats from rising ocean levels. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
June gloom. Cloud coverage is back in San Diego. Parts of the county also got some drizzle. Meteorologist Chris Nallen has our forecast for the week.
Meteorologist Chris Nallen reporting, and we are talking about some pretty quiet weather in and around Southern California. And over the last 6 hours, you can see that radar telling the tale. Very dry skies, and the good news is pretty quiet weather will be on tap as we head into the nighttime hours and then into the next couple of days. So bigger vantage point does show most of California, though, where the weather usually can get a little bit wild, especially across northern parts of California. It's been dry. Pretty big ridge of high pressure here, but some of that wet weather continues across the Intermountain West, but here across the immediate west coast, conditions remain rather tranquil. Future forecast goes like this as we head into your evening hours. Notice what happens. That marine layer starts to become, very abundant right into the overnight as it heads a little bit further inland around La Jolla, San Diego. Going to be another foggy start to the day on your Tuesday. It will gradually burn off, though. It's been taking its time. Tonight, 62 degrees. We'll at least see those low clouds around. Otherwise, San Diego forecast goes like this tonight. We'll see overnight lows into the upper 50s around Chula Vista, Mount Laguna into the middle 50s. Lots of sunshine on tap for tomorrow. You can see that brilliant sunshine around San Diego, and Oceanside looks good into the low 70s. Triple digits, though, across parts of the dry region in the desert. So there is that ridge that continues to bring in very nice weather, but it's the active zone to the east here that we'll be watching as well, because eventually this will transition and we'll see more of a dip in the jet stream over the coming days. But for now, high pressure is in control of our weather. Talking about that 5-day outlook from the coast and points inland, low clouds during the early parts of the days. Into the afternoon, we could see more of that sunshine. Low clouds will be hanging tough, though, on Friday. Temperatures each day into the lower 70s. As we head inland, notice those temperatures warming up. On your Wednesday, very warm stuff into the upper 70s Thursday. Some clouds around also on your Friday. Around the desert, look at these temperatures. Triple-digit heat on Tuesday into Wednesday, turning a touch cooler, if you want to call that cooler, Thursday, Friday, into the middle 90s on your Saturday. Across the mountains, very comfortable and cool. We'll see those numbers into the 70s. Reporting for KPBS, I'm meteorologist Chris Nallen.
Lincoln High School is making headlines again. Officials with San Diego Unified are looking for new administrators to lead the school. This after ousting the principal, Jose Soto Ramos, and the school's vice principals. The school has struggled with below average academic achievement compared to the district and the state averages, and below average graduation rates with above average dropout rates. Today, I spoke to school board president Dr. Sharon Whitehurst Payne about what's next. Dr. Whitehurst Payne, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for this opportunity to share.
So how much of the decision to remove the school's administration at Lincoln High School had to do with academics?
Well, I think it's a total package. We just wanted our students to be supported overall in every aspect. And that was a big part of it, but you know, it's just a total package. Folks look nowadays at what's going on at schools, period. And if you think about it, the nation, the state of California, the city of San Diego, we all have to increase our expectations and our support for schools. That's why we're constantly asking for more monies to help support the schools, because we realize we're competing internationally. It's no longer just San Diego or just America. We're competing with countries all over the world, even smaller countries, and they're doing better in some of the areas. So we just want to increase the standards overall.
What are you looking for in a principal and vice principals that you didn't have in those positions before?
So we're looking first of all for a veteran, not someone who is learning how to be a principal at the same time dealing with all the other issues related on that campus. And that's what I'm excited about. I felt that we needed that in the beginning. A veteran principal who knows what it is and the challenges that go along with being on a senior high campus. And then the next step is we're looking for someone who can pull together that school community, not just pockets, but the entire school community to focus on the needs of our children. And I want to really stress that, because I think some of the children even didn't understand what I was saying at their graduation. This group of students at Lincoln that just graduated is by far the toughest group I've ever seen. The perseverance, the just sheer grit, if you will, just determined to succeed. They had it more than any group I've ever seen. But from my perspective of having seen a lot of high schools, not just here in San Diego, but in Orange County, etc., I know that there are some elements that would help them to do even better. And whenever they went for an interview and were compared to other schools, that was a comment that kept coming out. These kids are just stars, but they need that support to help polish them. Diamonds in the rough, if you will.
When you say the elements that would help them succeed, can you expand on that?
Well, I shook every child's hand as he or she marched across the stage and asked them, where are they going? Most of them are going on to the Promise program, the community college, or they've received the Pradeep Chancellor Scholarship from UCSD. We have a student going to Stanford, others going all over. They are really achieving. And we have 481 acceptance letters for colleges, $12 million worth of scholarship, 294 kids graduating. So they have, in spite of everything, they've really persevered. But I'm looking beyond that to say what happens now when they get to college.
Still, more students drop out of Lincoln High School compared to other schools in the district. Whose responsibility is that? Is that the principal?
It's a team. We need a leadership team that can lead the school and can identify areas where we're weak and then support in that area, or even request support from the district if necessary.
And Michael Brunker is part of your recruitment team. He's formerly with the Jackie YMCA, not too far from Lincoln High School. What will he bring to the recruitment process?
I think that for San Diego, Michael brings something fairly unique. He's a Rotarian, I'm a Rotarian. He also has been there at the YMCA, Jackie Robinson Y, for a number of years. He's interfaced with Lincoln. He gave all of the students there in that community free passes. They had a membership there. They left the school. They had that supportive environment. He's done things. He's looked for opportunities to help support the children throughout. 5
principals in the course of 12 years. What's being done differently this time?
I think for the first time since I've been here in San Diego, we're just doing a total wipeout to say, let's just bring in a totally new team with one responsibility, to get it right. This is the first time we've done that.
Is it fair to put so much pressure on a principal, considering the obstacles that any principal coming to the Lincoln High campus would face? Statistically, 87% of the students at Lincoln High School are considered disadvantaged, socio and economically disadvantaged. Can we talk about the obstacles that these principals face? Because it's a tough job.
It's a very tough job. But on the other hand, we are offering an additional level of resource. We've had 3 vice principals and a principal. Now we're placing a director there who's going to be working this year exclusively with Lincoln High School. So we're going from 4 administrators to 5. But we need an experienced person who is not learning what it is to be a principal, all the issues that go into that, standing up for yourself, just the whole ambience of being a senior high principal, that part of it. We're excited about getting someone in who can traverse all of those pitfalls and then move forward with bringing the students in, giving them the support that they don't even know that they're missing. And I want Lincoln to be #1, and I know that it can be. And that's what I'm excited about. Just wait and see.
Dr. Whitehurst-Payne, thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity to share.
Houston, Texas high school is working to become a super school thanks to a $10 million grant. SciTech explains how one school is reshaping the academic experience.
This school was always called a dropout school. We had 19 and 20-year-old kids in 9th grade, and they were naturally dropping out. And I had known that we needed to change the way we work in our high schools.
Our 21st century learning should not be inside the classroom walls. We are taking risk for a change
If we are able to truly implement it, then we will transform this high school. We heard that Stephen Jobs' widow was going to try to reinvent high schools. We had put together a great proposal, but we had no idea that we would get it.
What are you guys trying here at this high school?
We have 3 different pathways here. One of them is the alternative forms of energy. Environmental communications. And then the last one is place-based. And that's people connecting with people and people connecting with nature. We were looking for what could these kids really get interested in that would encourage them to want to come to school and would spill over into all the academic areas. We're trying to teach them to make wise decisions. And then we produce students, collaborators, problem solvers, innovators who will be highly productive in the 21st century.
It's almost like a trial period. Like, you never know what you're gonna like until you try it. It's like a stepping stone to see what we want to do.
We have actually incorporated Genius Hour. According to the Genius Hour, our students get 2 hours a week to choose what they want to do. So a group of students came to me because they want to see the technicalities behind launching rockets. Now they are the active learners.
We plant in guilds. Like, let's say you're really awesome at skateboarding and I'm really good at taking video, right? So we pair up together and we make an awesome team and we form a guild. We plant things together so they could help each other.
What is this class?
This class is agriculture. Today we're working on the garden. We moved strawberries from the school's garden to over here to the orchard.
What is that in your hand?
These are onions.
Why are you holding onions?
We were planting them and it just makes me feel comfortable.
We're called the media team and we produce movies and films and documentaries.
Why did you choose this pathway?
It felt like the pathway where I could be myself and express myself. Coming from a middle school where you're treated like a child and then you come here and you're given all these options, it was pretty overwhelming. It was hard to believe you could do it sometimes, to see, oh, am I worth this? But eventually, they help you believe that in yourself.
So here what is happening exactly is, since they are choosing, since they are passionate about, since they want to do it, they are taking ownership of it. They are free. When you are free, you think outside the box.
Once again, that report comes to us from SciTech Now. You can see more stories like that one on scitechnow.org. What happens to animals that spend their lives in a lab being tested for science? AP reporter Carrie Antelfinger shows us the retirement process for primates.
Giving monkeys direct eye contact is a sign of a threat to them.
Izzo likes to use a mirror to check out his surroundings.
He's probably looking right at you.
This is what retirement looks like for some former research monkeys, along with much larger living spaces, pools, and for some, their first time hanging out in fresh air.
Just to see them look around in amazement, it was all very calm and peaceful.
Primates Incorporated is a retirement home in central Wisconsin for 5 rhesus macaques that were used in research, and 1 vervet monkey that was formerly a pet.
And I'm lip smacking to keep them calm. It's a friendly gesture amongst primates.
Amy Kerwin created this sanctuary after working in a research lab for 5 years. She calls it her life's work.
Knowing that I couldn't help my 97 monkeys I grew close to, they all had names and personalities.
When studies are done, most primates are euthanized so their tissues can be examined, or they're sold to different studies. But researchers in sanctuaries say more and more labs are looking to retire monkeys. But the biggest hurdle is funding. Most studies are funded by the National Institutes of Health, or the NIH, but the government agency doesn't include funds for retirement.
This would have to be a policy change by the NIH, and it will have a dramatic effect on the taxpayers, on budget.
The nonprofit Americans for Medical Progress represents research labs. Cindy Buckmaster says they support retirement, but researchers are concerned about sanctuary standards and financial viability.
These animals have very complex social and behavioral needs and physical needs, so the people who work with them really require a good deal of training and expertise.
Kerwin says her sanctuary is on its way to being accredited with the North American Primate Sanctuary Alliance, which places animal welfare as the top priority.
On the 17 acres, we would like to help up to 100 monkeys over the next 20 years.
One researcher's way of giving back to those who have helped humans live better lives. Carrie Antelfinger, Associated Press, Westfield, Wisconsin.
And we want to give you a quick update to our top story. Officials at the safe parking site want to clarify the Mission Valley lot is open to vehicles from 6 to 9:30 p.m. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.